Greetings and salutations, good friends, and welcome to Blades in Paradise. My name is Dr. Winston Thoreau, and I will be your guide to the perils and pleasures of our paradise amidst the post-apocalyptic Pacific Northwest. Now, we'll get to the chicanery and shenanigans momentarily, but before we do, allow me to deliver some news. Blades in Paradise is an actual play podcast run in John Harper's Blades in the Dark. We are proud to have been selected for the Evil Hat Games Creator Program. Bard Rock Network is sponsored by Dragon Master Games. Visit DragonMasterGames.com for all your CCG, TCG, TTRPG, and miniature game needs. If you enjoy the stories we tell, you can tip us on Ko-fi or visit us at patreon.com/bardrockcafe. By sponsoring the network, you not only help us provide an ever-expanding library of shows, but gain access to bonus content, the network Discord, exclusive booster game nights, and roles on our booster bonus table. Now, without further delay, allow me to introduce you to my cohorts Lizzie, Sterling, and Max, the crew of ESPN. Enjoy.
Blades in Paradise is a dystopian story intended for adults. These stories intentionally address challenging topics that might not be suitable for all ears. This campaign includes content warnings for gun violence, child endangerment, animal cruelty, unintentional misgendering of a non-binary person, substance use, and graphic descriptions of injuries, including the eyes. Listener discretion is advised.
McDonald in the water with the battle ball to Junior Calls up on the primary rail, and suddenly the Nirvana Knickerbockers have found themselves deep in Salvation Slammers territory, threatening the ring. They're ready to score. Well, look there, Discount Bob. Starbucks Coffee is playing top-notch defense, coming right toward Calls for the slam. Coffee flips into their patented handstand, and yes! Ooh. Coffee drop kick takes both players into the water, and it's Slammer's ball. Now that's a cup of coffee that'll wake you up in the morning. Luscious Lucius Loganberry recovers the battle ball and is speeding toward the Nirvana Knickerbockers' goal. I'll tell you, Bob, when Luscious Lucius is covered in baby oil, the only thing faster in the water is a speedboat. Loganberry, now looking for help, finds Gator Aiden Bega up on the rails. Bega to Coffee on the center rail. Coffee then pours it back to Loganberry. Bega into the water now, and with the strength of his namesake, gives Loganberry a boost in the air. Luscious Lucius shoots, and he... We now interrupt today's broadcast of the Nationwide Battle Ball Federation to bring you a Lantern News Network Spotlight story. Good morning, Paradisians. I'm Lincoln National, shining a light on the important stories we want you to see. Tonight's top story, the blockbuster case of one Benjamin Franks, the disgraced former Lantern Corps executive on trial for corporate espionage, arson, murder, and mayhem. The prosecution's star witness, Franks himself. Despite recanting his immediate, damning confession, the state purportedly has black box footage that... Wait, we're being told that we're just moments away from a verdict. We'll take you live to the courtroom.
Based on the evidence that's been presented today, and based on the outstanding presentation by Miss J.G. Wentworth, I'm going to have to say that all charges against Benjamin Franks have been withdrawn. He's an innocent man, and he is free to go.
Well, there you have it, listeners. I can't think of any time in my tenure as your voice for Lantern Corps, or even during the time my father spent in this seat before me, where justice turned such a blind eye. The evidence against Franks destroyed. The confession tossed out by the brilliant skills of star attorney J.G. Hold on, I'm hearing something. We need to go back to the courtroom where apparently there's an incident that's transpiring right now that we need to... Hello, and welcome back to Blades in Paradise? The only podcast where you never quite know exactly what it is you're going to get. I think someone at one point said something about that in a movie somewhere along the line. I'm Jim, and normally I play Dr. Winston Thoreau, but today I will be your Blades... I guess we'll call me I'll be the Blades' uncle tonight. I'll be the bunkle. To steal one from Caldwell Tanner. I'll be your Blades' uncle this evening. And joining me, for a change, not as always, as Paul would say, are my lovely players. So why don't we introduce ourselves, but not quite our characters yet?
Hi, I'm Paul, And until this point in history, you've known me as our master of ceremonies. I'm a player today.
Well, you're a player all the time.
Ha.
Life's but a stage, and all the men and women but people.
Hi, I'm Queenie. Of course, life's a stage. It has the stage. Always. But you guys know me as a player, and always a player, because, well, I DM enough at home.
Queenie, however, not a player. She does just crush a lot.
Candy Crush.
And Clocker Gator's crush.
That entire joke was a saga.
There's like 10 minutes of backstory that no one will ever have access to.
Hi, I'm Riley, and I'm also a player.
All right. This evening, we're going to be trying some new things out. We're planning ahead for when we wrap up Blades in Paradise. So we're gonna cut to a quiet evening. Your head hurt. There's a loud ringing in your ear. Almost as if you had been in a church steeple when they rang time for the ceremony. There's a taste of metal in your mouth. Whether it's blood or some kind of chemical, you're not entirely sure, but you know that you're disoriented. All of a sudden, the pitch black gives way to a flickering, unnatural green light, which then fades into a static of a fluorescent light. You see the members of your crew sitting around a steel table. Each of you is bound at the ankles and at the wrists and at the waist. There is a stand at the end of the room with a small television and what appears to be a cart, a VCR of some sort, almost as if you're in your third grade class and it's the Friday that your teacher finally agreed to play a movie for you. All of a sudden, the television flickers to life from static into just sheer bright whiteness, hurting your eyes. It's so bright. And you hear a haunting, almost familiar jingle where it starts to kick into bum 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 bum. Bastille, protecting you for years from the terrors and the tragedies of the wasteland, shielding you from Lantern's light. Bastille, keeping you safe from all the horrors that lay outside. Bastille, Bastille, Bastille. And you see a kindly looking elderly gentleman walk onto camera. He starts talking, and it's low. It's a low murmur to the point where you can kind of barely not understand what's going on. It's your standard run-of-the-mill HR. You're being told about the wonders and the beauty of this particular corporation and what it is they do to protect you. About 30 seconds, 45 seconds after this kicks in, you see a large, imposing man who is about probably close to 6.5 feet tall, clad entirely in olive drapes with an inordinate amount of badges all along his chest and golden pauldrons on his shoulder. Walk in. He is holding a manila folder full of papers. He pushes the cart off to the side of the room and signals to the scrawny gentleman behind him to turn the VCR off as he sits down at the table across from you. I assume you imagine while you're all here. You understand why you're all here.
Oh yes, it's because the aliens have come for me.
You're very close as usual, Mr. Price. No, we're not quite at the point where we are connecting with extraterrestrials, although there may be a point in time when I do need you to have a conversation with them about that particular point, and about that very thing. No, sir. For those of you who do not know who I am, my name is General Dollar. and this is my lieutenant, Lieutenant Blender. We are here as representatives of Bastille. I assume you all understand who Bastille is and what Bastille does.
No, I do not.
We're responsible for everything that keeps you safe here. We're responsible for the lights, we're responsible for your air, we're responsible for your water, your food, and your security. We are the reason that the towns on the Atlantic Ocean have been able to survive and thrive since the before time. We're here to protect you. We're here to keep you safe. And that's why... Blender, are you sure these are the people that we're looking for? And Blender just hurriedly flips through his paper and he's like, Sir, I know what it looks like, but these are the three that are supposed to be perfect for this particular gig.
I knew you were out to get me the whole time.
We're not out to get you, Bryce. All right, let me just lay it on the line for you. We need your help. You see, there are certain individuals, shall we say, who have taken over certain facilities in the area, and they're running off of our power grid. Now, normally, we would march right in there, we would lay them to waste, and we would reclaim what is ours. However, these individuals have made, shall we say, fast friends with some of our competitors. I assume you've all heard of Lantern Corp.
Yes. I used to work for famous footwear who's very well formulated with the Lantern Corps, so I am very familiar with their dirty deeds that are done dirty.
Which division? Were you in shoes? Were you in hot dogs? Were you in cookies?
I was actually worked in research development, the high up floors.
The one that's filled with water, or the one that...
The one with the steampunk death traps, the conveyor belts, and all the miter saws, etc.
I used to steal from them.
Okay, so you have the skill set necessary. Excellent.
I knew I liked you.
There is a gentleman by the name of Walter. Now, Walter is somewhat of an enigmatic figure. And Walter has decided to move into our facility down in what was known in the before times as the happiest place on earth. And Walter has gathered a rather large crew of hangers-on and worshippers and associates. We can't just go in and destroy that entire complex, because it would not only take away years' worth of research, but it would make enemies of the Lantern Corporation, who, you see, Walter has claimed this facility in the name of. What I'm going to need the three of you to do is go into that facility, kidnap Walter, and bring him back to me. Under no certain circumstances should Walter be killed. If he is, then we're going to send you up to our facility up in Purgatory to live out the rest of your days. But if you bring Walter back to me, you will receive clemency, complete forgiveness of your service, and all the coin that you can have.
I attempt to raise my hand, realize I'm bound. What is the policy on something in between alive and dead, like, say, a lobotomy?
If you have the time to perform a surgical procedure as intricate and as expansive as a lobotomy, then I would expect that you would be able to just get Walter out of the facility and bring him back.
Oh, lobotomy's not that complicated. You just run a little metal rod right under the eye, kind of like in the cornea. You don't want to poke the eye out, and then you kind of get it to the back of the brain, and then you just scrape real hard.
How many of these have you performed, sir?
I mean, I saw it in an episode of The Boys last week.
Paul, please describe your character.
All right, so Fisher Price is a scientist. You can tell he's a scientist because he's wearing a lab coat, as all scientists do, and goggles, but very steampunk goggles. He also has a tinfoil hat on his head, and every single pocket he has a chain attached to a pocket watch for some reason. He also has enormous green rubber gloves on his hand.
So there's nothing timeless about Fisher, is what you're saying.
Oh no, he is very timely indeed. Also, he has this look in his eye where, like, both of his eyes are kind of lazy, where they're both leaning, like, 75 degrees off to the side, kind of like a lizard. You get the impression he's probably been in more than one lab accident.
You, little lady, in the middle there, you've been quiet this entire time. What's your deal? What's your whole thing? I don't understand what your situation is. You, Miss Tawny, how do you pronounce your last name?
Wildcard.
Riley, please describe your character.
Tawny's a gambler who's trying to look comfortable in some comfy jeans and a tee with a lambskin jacket. The blonde badass in indoor shades who owns a deck with 14 spades.
That's phenomenal. You seem confused as to why you've been brought in. Did my presentation not make sufficient sense? Do you have questions for me?
I have a question to sort of expand upon Mr. Price's question.
On if you can lobotomize the gentleman we're looking you to procure for us and bring back, who is our intelligence, who is...
No, not that specifically. When you say not dead, I mean, can this person think that we might kill them, or do you want them, like, treated well?
You can, quite frankly, do whatever you will to them, provided they get back to us in the point where they can speak and explain everything that they know.
Perfect.
Their brain is what is important to us.
Oh, so the lobotomy should stay off the table.
So their fingers can be gone?
You see, he kind of chuckles to himself, and he looks at you and goes, Miss Danskin, I don't believe fingers will be the least of your concern. And Queenie, why don't you describe your character?
You see a tall, skinny blonde with her hair pulled back in a ponytail, pale skin, in an all-black skin-tight exercise outfit. She is a jewel thief.
A jewel thief for their own line of exercise videos.
Yes.
We're going to drop you off right outside of Nostalgia. I'll give you 72 hours to secure Walter and bring him back to the drop zone. You'll have 10 minutes or so to discuss whether or not you choose to accept my offer. If you do not, I will have you on the next train, we'll call it a train, up to Purgatory. I'll be back. And with that, he walks out of the room, and Blender...
I mean, the alternative is prison, so...
But Purgatory is not quite prison. It's...
Well, I think Purgatory is just colloquially what they're calling the prison colony.
It's a home. It's, 3 squares a day. It's, a job. It's a spot in a community. But no, you will not have the freedom to go ahead and continue the tricks that you have been playing on this community, shall we say. You will not be allowed to hoodwink and swindle and steal and move around with impunity like you have been allowed to up to this point. No, you will not be allowed to do that in Purgatory. No, you will be confined to the area that we are safe and we are confident in you being.
I agree to help with this project, but I have demands.
Okay, I will hear them, but I will probably say no to every single one of them.
All right, in order to achieve the job you need, I need item number 1, a ham radio.
Okay.
Item number 2, 4 alarm bell style alarm clocks.
That seems needless and quite clumsy, if we're being completely honest. You have to sneak in some. Okay, go for it.
I'm sorry, are you a highly qualified engineer? Because I am a highly qualified engineer.
No, I'm a general in a paramilitary service.
And then I'm going to need several common household cleaning products.
Are you planning on making some type of chlorine gas? I can just give you the chlorine gas.
I mean, I was going to build a bomb, but okay.
Okay, well, we can just give you one of those if you need a bomb.
Oh, I didn't think that'd be that easy. Okay, sure.
No, I'm sending you into a very dangerous situation. I can give you some form of weapon if you need it. You don't have to just make something from scratch.
All right, in that case, I would like one bomb that could take out approximately a city block and a remote detonator.
Blender, can you please run down to the barracks and get the gentleman here what he needs?
I have a demand.
Miss Wildcard, your demand?
His detonator.
You would like to hold on to the I actually think that's a good idea
No,
for you to hold on.
that's fine. Can I get a copy of it?
I've spent less than 5 minutes with the three of you, and I have a complete understanding of who should be holding on to this detonator, and it is you.
Well, I don't need any of your stuff. I got my own.
And where have you been? Where are you keeping it? You're wearing a skin-tight lycra bodysuit. I can't quite imagine where you would have anything at this point in time.
Just look at her. She's a bombshell.
He just looks at you completely stone-faced. His blows a hoof out, and his mustache hair just blow in the wind as he's completely nonplussed by your pun.
I have a question, Jim.
Yes.
So I took the looking into a mirror ability, which means I can detect any lies told to me. So was I just lied to at all?
You were not lied to, no.
Interesting.
He did not tell you any lies. He may have omitted some vital information, but he did not. Nothing he told you was untrue. Someone did break into one of their facilities and moved his cult into it, and now he is claiming refuge from Lantern as a way to try to avoid being invaded.
Sweet. Thank you.
Don't worry, General. The Florida men are on the case.
2 of the 3 of you are female. Why are you the... Okay, I'm you know what?
No, you see, MEN is an acronym. I don't remember what it stands for. I joined the organization after it was founded.
He gets up and he walks out, and Blender sits down and he goes, all right, I'm Lieutenant Blender. Oh, this is my first job. Why am I here? And he pulls out a brown paper bag and he starts breathing heavily into the brown paper bag. Okay, you're gonna land in approximately, is it clicks or 100 hours? Two clicks in 1,000 hours, and we'll drop you off at the Gate of Nostalgia. And from there, you're going to need to get into the large castle in the center of the complex. That's where our intelligence tells us that Walter is. Please don't ask me any questions.
Wouldn't do that to you.
Thank you. All right. Mechanically, this is the time when we are going to go ahead and do our engagement roll.
Are we still supervised at this point?
No, you have been left alone at this point to do it as you see fit.
Have our restraints been removed?
They have not.
Oh.
So we're going to form this plan while strapped to chairs.
Yes.
How much leeway do we have? Like, would it be a risky maneuver to slide the detonator to Price?
You haven't received your loadout yet. I assume you would receive your loadout on the...
I feel like I just want to... I do a zero stress flashback and ask the guy who's leaving to remove our restraints so we can plan our heist before we embark.
Yes.
Okay.
That's way smarter.
Please don't ask me any questions.
Wouldn't do that to you.
Thank you.
I actually do have one question. Can you remove our restraints now?
No, she said she didn't have any questions for us.
She did. I didn't. I would like my restraints removed. Can you please remove our restraints?
Fine. They walk over and they press a remote each to the binding on your waist, and all of a sudden your wrists and your ankles are all completely freed.
All right. Let's get planning, team.
Is that all you needed from me?
I think so. Are we good?
Assuming there are no refreshments available, yes.
All right, let's roll. What you know is you have to break into a castle in the center of a complex. How would we like to go about doing that? Introduce what playbook is your crew using?
Well, we didn't have that conversation beforehand, so we were tentatively leaning towards shadows.
Oh, I thought we were Bravos.
Oh yeah, Bravos. We're doing this loud. That's right. Yeah, let's stick with Bravos.
Queenie's the one that said shadows because I thought it fit better.
Yeah, and you did just ask for
a bomb,
a very large explosive.
Yes.
We're the Florida men. We just come in loud. We make the headlines.
Except for me, nobody knows me.
Now that we're unsupervised, do we actually want to do this?
This sounds like they're promising us clemency for our prior crime, so it seems to me that we commit one crime on the level. We're privateers now. Yeah.
Yeah, I like my crown jewel. It's so pretty.
Yeah, let's just get through this.
I have a suggestion for infiltrating the castle. What if we create a distraction by using this big bomb I just secured and just blow up something else very important nearby so they send all their forces to investigate?
And I can break in with my burglary gear.
I too brought my burglary gear.
I mostly brought chemicals and tools. I do have access to burglary gear. I just did not bring it.
Also, reminder, because obviously we know each other's skill set very well, but I did remember my disguise kit this time.
And I have light climbing gear.
Love heights.
Alright, so what's our approach going to be? Is it going to be a full-on assault? Are we looking for deception, some stealth?
It's kind of a combination of the two, so I guess your discretion which one you think it is. The plan I proposed was create a very loud distraction, which is both deception and full-on assault. Which do you feel that falls more accurately under?
That feels more like deception, like a manipulation, than it does like an assault. You're not trying to do violence to the target that you are looking to attack. You are trying to do violence to something that is off to the side, so that way there is less danger to you when you actually approach the target.
So like a resource or something nearby we can fuck with? Armory or something?
There's gotta be like a water supply or like...
The storehouse.
Yeah, like their food supply. There's gotta be something important that they'll go check on.
Alright.
You know, I used to be an Imagineer, so I've been there before. That was the job I had before I moved out west to work for Famous Footwear.
So you start off with 1 dice, and I'm going to call this a particularly bold and daring exploit. So let's take another dice for that. Does the plan expose a vulnerability or hit them where they're weakest? I'm going to call that a neutral. Your friends or contacts provide aid. You did receive a bomb from your employer, so take a dice for that. But it is a higher tier target than what you're probably capable of going after.
Would my special ability of infiltrator not being affected by the quality or tier when you bypass security measures count toward that?
I will count that towards that. So let's give you, so that gives you 3 dice to roll for this engagement roll.
Who would like to roll?
I say Paul rolls.
Oh, Paul never gets to roll the engage roll. That's fair.
Exactly.
That's true. Okay, I have steampunk dice here. I have my extra life dice, and I have melted clock hand. Actually, no, instead of extra life, I have metal, I have clock gears, and I have clock hands. All right, I have 4, 4, and 2.
So this is a slightly risky position that you find yourself in, which, quite frankly, is not surprising. I mean, you are Florida Men. You are dealing with explosives, and as we all know from watching the news, we know what happens when Florida Men deal with explosives.
We succeed.
Somebody ends up on the news. Having formulated your plan, you're collected by Blender, who brings you down to what appears to be some form of armored car that has a round top, sort of a middle section to it, and then a very rounded bottom. With 4 wheels. Looks somewhat like a hamburger. And he loads you into there, and he tells you that the trip's going to be about an hour. And from there, we'll drop you off right at the end of Nostalgia. And from there, you're on your own. I wish you the best of luck. Enjoy what you're hearing? Rate us on your favorite podcatcher. Reviews on platforms like Apple, Spotify, or Good Pods help new listeners find our content. It's a completely free way to support the show. Thanks for listening.
Where are we now, Llewellyn?
Well, Meanie, it looks like we've arrived in a universe where Jump Leads is part of the Bard Rock network of podcasts.
The Bard Rock Network? Wow! That's a whole new audience ready to experience our adventures jumping through parallel universes, like when we found that colony of religious robots, or the time we were chased by a knife-wielding dinosaur.
What about when you spent a whole episode looking for a bathroom?
We don't have to talk about that.
Listen to the scripted sci-fi comedy podcast audiences are calling hilarious with a lot of heart and wit. Jump Leads, Season 1 available now, wherever you get your podcasts. Season 2 coming soon.
Who was that?
Sounds like this reality is actually an ad spot.
An ad spot? Wait, so none of this is canon?
It was, until you asked that question.
You're loaded into your wheels. You're driven along. You can hear the rain hitting pitter-patter on the metal of the vehicle. And as you are let loose, you're let loose probably about a mile from the entrance to, and this is what you see off in the distance, which I just dropped off in Discord.
That sign's seen better days. 3 of the letters were still there last time I was here.
There is a field of open asphalt. Miles and miles and miles of open asphalt. Some of which is pockmarked by previous explosions or damage. Some of which is damaged by just not being cared for. There are parts of it, however, that have been turned into almost glass, either from heat or from exposure or from explosions having fallen down on top of it. About a mile up ahead, you see a destroyed sign for a theme park that was, in the before times, the reason people came to Nostalgia. There is a large walled city below that sign, with the gates wide open in a tent city that has been formed outside of the entrance. What do you do?
What do we know about this cult?
Why don't you give me survey or study, whatever's best for you.
All right, I have 1 in survey. Boop. That's a 2. I know nothing.
You don't know nothing about this cult. But you know from your time here, you know that there have always been lines outside of this particular location for people to get inside. Exactly what their reason for being here is completely unknown to you. You just wanted to do your job and go home.
All right, so the reason I asked is I have a contact on my character sheet that just says a priestess. I'm trying to determine if my priestess friend might be connected to this cult.
Give me a bonus dice. Actually, you know what? She can be, if you want her to be. So you can use her too.
All right, well, that was a 6, so yeah, she's totally here.
So what you know is that there are people who have come here from all over the continent, understanding that this is known as the happiest place on Earth. And what they want is they're looking for a reason to be, a reason to exist, a reason to belong. A lot of the people that we've met in Paradise and a lot of the people that you have met elsewhere in Florida or in other parts of the world, wherever your adventures and travels have taken you, don't necessarily have a reason for being and existing other than the work that they do day to day. You know, this is the aftertime where things are hard and there is not a lot of resources to go around. There are people who are suffering, and so they come here looking for reason and looking for meaning. And so that's why they come and they set up a tent city out front and they wait for their turn to be welcomed in. What's the name of your contact, by the way?
All right, do we see in this empty sea of pavement that presumably in the before times was a parking lot, a lot of times parking lots will have like a blue phone that like calls the main facility? Is there something like that around? Does it look like it still works? Or it might be able to be turned into something that works because I am an engineer.
There are blue phones in various spots, and you can probably make it work because you have tinker skills.
I do have tinker skills. All right, so
You're Tinkerer.
I turn to the party and I say, all right, I have a contact. I believe she's on the inside. I think I can call a favor to get us through the front gate. You know, as long as you both are okay with that plan, I don't want to. You know, here's the thing. She's a little crazy. That's coming from me.
I'm okay with it.
All right, anyway, her name is Wendy. So I'm going to go ahead and roll Tinker to try and turn this phone back on.
Go for it.
Does she have some lost boys?
Well, her dad was this lovely gentleman named Dave. Anyway, I rolled a 5.
All right. You pick up the blue phone on the side of the parking lot, and you hear it click. But as you're listening, you can hear a click, click, click. You know that someone is listening in on your conversation, regardless of what it is and who it is you're speaking to. Oh, hello there. Nice to meet you. What can I do for you there, bub?
Hello, my name is Fisher Price. I used to be an Imagineer here. I'm actually looking for an old friend of mine. Her name is Wendy.
Wendy? You're a good friend of Wendy? Oh, any good friend of Wendy is a good friend of mine. I'll have someone come down here with a little go-kart there thingy, golf cart, and see if they can come pick you up. How many are in your party?
There are 3 of us.
3 of you. Oh, 3 new people. You know what? We love to welcome people to Walter's World. It's my favorite thing in the world, getting to share my passions with other people. So I'll send the golf cart down. My friend Steve Bob is going to come pick you up, and from there, we'll get you over to Wendy. And I'm sorry, what'd you say your name was? Fisher Price?
Yes, Fisher Price.
All right, we'll be right there to come pick you up. Fisher Price party at 3. You got it. 5 minutes passes, and you see a rather short individual driving a golf cart, who happens to be probably no older than 9 years old, pulls up, driving the golf cart.
All right, come on and hop in, I guess. I'll bring you back.
Pleasure to meet you, young man, but I don't suppose your name is Jeff by any chance.
No, my name's Steve.
Oh, that's right. They told us Steve. All right, my memory's not what it used to be. One too many electric shocks in the lab, if you know what I mean.
No, my brother's Jeff. That's weird that you knew that.
Anyway, I take a seat in the shotgun seat of the golf cart.
Oh,
I hop in the back.
I'll climb in the back.
all right, I'm gonna drive you down. Just please keep your hands and feet inside at all times, because I cannot be held responsible for any type of injuries or problems that may result as of you putting them out there. All right.
And speed you back down. You approach the tent city as you come over the crest of the hill, and you see tents of all various colors and shapes, many of which have been made of various patchwork, into different colors and animals, and some of them have had very intricate designs, essentially not carved is the wrong word, sewn into them, really establishing their preference for a character, or their preference for a particular type of entertainment, or which tribe they belong to in this tent city. They pull you right up to the front of the gates, where you see, sitting down in it's not wicker's the wrong name, but those folding chairs? They're almost like pieces of plastic that are in cross patterns, like you have at a kid's soccer game.
Like a plastic mold kind of camping chair, lawn chair?
Lawn chair, that's the word, yeah.
Lawn chair.
And like a lawn chair or a camping chair, you see Wendy sitting down. Wendy is about 5'3". Wendy is wearing a pair of cargo shorts and a t-shirt with a faded logo on the front of it. She has a black hat with her name stitched on the front, and a pair of floppy rabbit ears falling down on either side. She has white makeup on her face and a black nose, and that's essentially the extent of her. Oh, bright red hair, basically as bright as you can possibly get, as if you were looking at the laser sight on a sniper's rifle.
Ah, Wendy, my dear old friend.
As I live and breathe, is that?
I need to just pick a different voice at this point. Fisher Price is I live and breathe. Hey, you've decided to come down to Florida? Last I heard, you moved back out west.
Yes, but there were cutbacks. There were cutbacks and layoffs at the famous footwear facility. So they told me I could either get the fuck out of town or they dropped me in their lava pit, and I chose not to go into the lava pit.
Oh, they're absolutely horrid men, and you brought friends with you to come stay at Walter's place. I'm so happy to see you all. Friends of Fisher Price are friends of mine. I'm Wendy.
Lane.
Very nice to meet you.
I'm somewhat of a den mother here. I collect lots of lost boys and girls from all over the continent who have come looking for adventure, who don't really feel like growing up just yet. And looking at the two of you, it seems like neither one of you has grown up either.
I open up like this duffel bag I have on my shoulder that's just full of parts, and the bomb is concealed under a bunch of garbage that like just loose parts.
Fisher, of course, we could always use another hand around here. You know, you're lucky. You arrived just in time for the ceremony. Usually these only happen once a week, but they've been happening with increasing frequency since, you see, Walter has been making increasing demands, and he's been bringing more people into...
When I hear the ceremony, I instinctively put my hands up to make mouse ears on the sides of my head. Like, kind of like I'm doing like the holy symbol, but for this particular cult.
Yes, exactly that. Walter's been bringing more and more people inside the gate to help him. We're looking to expand, you see. We've run out of... resources is the wrong word, but we're quickly running out of, I guess, food and water for the amount of people that we're bringing in. We have plenty of electricity, but none of the others. So we need to expand out past one of the other zones that used to be before time. From what we know, there are some form of agricultural growth in one of the other areas that we may be able to get the things that we need from. But for now, we're just going to do as Walter asks and go along with the ceremony. If you'd like to grab a seat, I'm about to hop up on the dais.
Of course. I grab a seat in the sturdiest looking folding chair, camping chair, whatever I can find.
Yeah, everyone around you is sitting in lawn chairs and some are sitting on the grass, some are sitting on picnic blankets, some of them have big bowls of popcorn, some of them have basically large shaped character heads full of various treats and resources, duffel bags that they brought with them. Nearly every person in this tent city has their head poked out of their tent at one point or another. Wendy hops up on the dais and she goes, "In his castle of nostalgia, dead Walter waits, dreaming for us all. Walter was here in the before time, and he made this the happiest place on earth. And now Walter has come back to us, a miracle been given. And Walter is set to make this the happiest place on earth." You hear everyone, chanting, "Here, here, ah!" Banging, whatever they have on the ground, making loud noise in support of Wendy and her speech.
Do I know if Walter is a full person or a head?
You can go ahead and you can roll a survey or a study to try to figure out what you know about Walter.
Alright, I've got one in study. That's a 2. Meh. I think he's just a foot.
For all you know, Walter came down here from another town or another city to try to revamp the world of his namesake. You don't know anything about Walter, but Wendy does. He says, but what Walter asks of us is what we ask of him, that we sacrifice to keep our community safe, that we make a sacrifice to make sure that everyone here in our community is able to thrive. And from there you see, if you look over to the left, out of what appears to be a closed room, there are 2 people who are dressed very similar to Wendy. 2 large men wearing novelty t-shirts and cargo shorts and socks pulled up to their knees with tennis shoes on, fancy hats with their names sewn on them and floppy rabbit ears. And they're carrying a person who is struggling mightily, who has the most decrepit rabbit costume that you have ever seen in your life. Imagine Donnie Darko if it had been through a sewer and a garbage disposal at the same time, that you had flushed it down the toilet, pulled it back out, threw it in the mud in the back of your backyard, and then proceeded to throw it on the person that you dislike the most. They walk him up to a large bronze statue that has already been defaced with spray paint. And they hoist the individual in the rabbit suit up onto the dais next to Wendy and proceed to lash him to the bronze statue. And Wendy looks out into the crowd.
Does Fisher know what this is? What the fuck?
I'm friends with their high priestess. Doesn't mean I know their whole religion.
Okay, if you don't look alarmed, then I guess I'm not either.
Oh, I always look alarmed. That's not helpful.
Okay, well, not more than usual.
And Lane's just perplexed by everything. Got this confused look on her.
Yep, those are both very comforting to me. Okay, sorry. Carry on.
You see the little boy who picked you up in the golf cart and his little twin brother, who you know to be Steve and Jeff, walk up holding a box up to Wendy. And the box is opened up facing away from you, and she removes a large, very, very intricately carved knife. Like it's one of the prettiest things that you have ever seen. It is in stark contrast to everything that's going on around you, the dirt and the grime and the disrepair. This thing is gleaming in the moonlight. And she pulls it up over her head. For our dreams and for Walter's dream, sacrifice your life. And she plunges the knife directly into his chest.
And as she's about to do that, I just turn over to Tanya. I go, this is like a magician's thing. It's all like mirrors and smoke. There's not really a dude in there. It's all an act. And I genuinely believe that because I am not right in the head.
That is when a spray of blood hits Fisher Price directly in the face.
It's like ketchup. I just take a fingerful.
It ain't ketchup.
I believe it's ketchup.
Can I tell if that's real blood or not?
Oh, you can tell. You can smell the iron in the air. You can hear, based off of the thirstiness of the crowd as they're all screaming and chanting.
If our fearless leader says it's fake.
I am the last person that should be the leader of this party. I'm just the one who's good at science. I'm taking the lead. I am not the leader. There's a difference.
I just wanted to pretend I was in charge. I didn't actually want to be in charge. I gave you the detonator right back. Like, I'm not...
Everyone wants to be in charge until it's a ritualistic sacrifice that happens directly in front of them. I understand.
Shit, you got me.
Yeah, but everyone cheers and stomps their feet, and Wendy hops off the dais, and the rabbit just kind of slumps to the ground and bleeds out. And over the next couple minutes, everyone wanders back to their tents as if this is completely normal.
Jim, I just want to say it was a bold choice to have the musical accompaniment for a ritual sacrifice be We Will Rock You by Queen. They're stomping their feet and clapping, really.
No, it's not it's like that. It's like, they're in like a pit.
I can't unthink it. They are doing the boom boom clap.
Oh, I have to yes and no, you know what? You're right. I'm supposed to yes and you. Yes, Paul. It was We Will Rock You.
We will stab you.
It tracks.
Just like in Robin Hood Men in Tights.
You got blood on your face, big disgrace, kicking your ass all over. Yeah, it tracks. You're right. You're 100% correct.
I'm glad we got there.
Also, Riley, now we need a spoof on that song.
I can do this. Who wants to sing it?
So Wendy walks back over to you. She hops off the dais, and she's got her, she's wiping the blood off her hands with a rag, and she invites you in. She goes, well, why don't you come and tell me what you're here for, and maybe I can try to help. I mean, if you'd like to join the community, you're more than welcome to do so. Otherwise...
Well, before I do, I'd like to see Walter, if I could.
You can't just see Walter. It's not that simple. You have... First, you have to be invited into the gate. Once you're invited into the gates, you're courted by the various groups that are inside. There are performers, there are princesses, there are pirates. It's a world full of fantasy and imagination. And from there, I mean, if you're lucky to rise up in the ranks, then maybe you'll get a chance to meet Walter, but he issues his commands from down on high. He doesn't just meet with any, Donald or Mickey around here.
Truth be told, I came here because I'm looking for honest work. You know my skill set. And I think I can actually help solve your water problems. I know that there's a lot of not drinkable swamp water in this area. I could build you all a water purifier using the swamp water just inside those gates. If you can get me inside, I can build you a water purifier using the swamp water on the site.
Why don't you roll a sway, I believe.
All right, I'm going to push myself because I have no dice in that.
I'll help by just saying, yeah, and I could probably come up with a way to get some more food from the land that you've already got.
All right, that is a 5 and a 1.
Perfect. A water purifier would be amazing. I mean, the truth be told, the ones inside are just not working, and there's no one really there to fix it because the groups that are inside are too busy competing for resources. I mean, there are plenty of frozen and canned food items deep beneath the surfaces in the tunnels for everybody to eat, but the different groups are keeping them to themselves, and they're competing for and trying to rob each other, and it's not what Walter would want, and it's not what I want from our... So I'll tell you what, I'll let you in. Go ahead and do the water repair, but you're also going to need to bring me back some food for my congregation.
Ah, of course. The least I can do.
All right, and she takes her knife and cuts her hand, and she goes, shake on it?
I take out a scalpel because I'm a scientist, and I cut a little nick in my hand.
And then she laughs. She's like, I'm just messing with you. That's just ketchup. And she wipes the ketchup off.
See, I told you, ketchup.
No, I really killed that guy, but my hand was ketchup. That was...
My expression does not change. My eyes are just as unnaturally wide apart as them.
Okay. So let's see.
I have the best poker face on earth, and I'm not the gambler.
Inscrutable.
So she hands you a rudimentary map that at one point looked like it had been printed and laminated on official paper, but has, over the years, you see notes and scratches on it. There is one world named the Wasteland. There is another named the Land of Yesterday. There is a third labeled as Lantern Square. The fourth one is labeled Dangerland. And then the fifth up at the top is just completely crossed off with X's all over it, and it just says, do not go here on the bottom.
May I make a small suggestion instead of Dangerland?
Yes.
The Danger Zone.
It is now the Danger Zone. She presses like a little button on the inside of her coat, and she opens up the gate. And in stark contrast to the disrepair that is outside in the tent city, you see a beautifully preserved central street, lined with shops and lined with restaurants and beautiful pavement and beautiful bronze statues. And it has been almost immaculately and unnaturally preserved. as if some form of magic or science has managed it so. Directly past the main streets, you can see large fires off in the distance. You can see barricades that have been built. You can see almost armed stations with rifles or other forms of snipers sticking out of them. And in the center of the area, there is a large castle. Very familiar, but slightly different, as it has been built up to be almost twice the size that it once was. It is almost more tower than it is castle at this point. The drawbridge in front has been pulled up, and there are 4 glowing pillars in the front of it.
I'm going to maintain the ruse. I'm going to reach into my bag of tools, and I'm going to give Lane and Tawny each a large piece of, a large tool, like a plunger or like a big old wrench. Like here's the thing: you look like you belong. The gangs are going to know we're here for maintenance because we're carrying maintenance tools. You see?
Ah, the blue collar clipboard.
Yes, the blue collar clipboard. That's what we used to call it back in the day. That's why these places never check your security badge when you have tools, because you have the clearance, because you have the wrench.
Wendy picks up like a radio and radios ahead, and she goes, "Yep, I'm sending in a former cast member to go ahead and fix some of the water filtration systems. They'll expect to see you. You're over in the danger zone? Okay. You want to go ahead and meet Bill over in the danger zone, and he should be able to get you to set up station number 1.
Fantastic. I look forward to working with Bill.
You know what, Fisher? It was great to see you. It's been a boon to have you here, and I wish you'd never left in the first place.
Well, any luck, I'm here to stay.
Lane, Connie, it was great to meet you as well, and I really do hope you decide to join our community.
It's really been something. Thank you for having us.
Yes. Lane's just trying to get away from her.
She comes over and she just gives you a really big hug, where she just holds on, just like the kind of hug where it's like the person is still hugging you and like invested in the hug, and you've kind of given up on the hug, and you're just like, all right, when are we gonna be done with this? And then she lets go like a good 40 seconds after you've kind of given up on the hug.
That's so long. Teammates, you two are doing great today.
Yeah. Just do not hug me anymore.
Yeah, let's move away from the hugger.
And we head for the danger zone, I guess.
To find Bill.
So you head up into Main Street. And as you step into the sort of the central area, you see a large statue of a somewhat tall man. The majority of him has been rubbed away. He's bronze. But just how when someone touches a bronze statue as they walk by, you'll see it's been rubbed away more from a dull sheen to a bright sheen. It almost looks golden. Nearly all of him looks that way at this point, as if for eons people have been walking by and rubbing various portions of the statue. And he's holding the hand of a much smaller creature. And attached to that top of that creature's head are 2... I'm trying to think of the right material to label this as, because it's not metal, and it's not concrete, and it's not glass. Maybe I'll call it plaster. But on the top of his head are 2 plaster ears that now reach down to his waist. They're very obviously fixed after the fact, and they're very obviously not meant to be. As you approach that central statue, you see out of each of the shops, restaurants that line the main street, people have walked out to greet you. And they're all wearing the same blue button-up shirt with the same name tag on it, and each one of the name tags says Walter. They're men, they're women, they're non-binary, they are tall, they are short, they are thin, they are fat, they are of all races, cultures, and creeds, but they're all wearing the exact same clothing. And as they sit to look at you, they speak in unison, and they say, all at once, a good 150 of them, "Welcome to Walter's world. Walter welcomes you. What can Walter do to help you?"
It's actually what we can do to help Walter. And I hold up my tools like, we're here to repair the water purifiers.
Oh, Walter needs pure water. Walter needs food. Thank you so much for coming to help Walter. Oh, Walter got himself in a little bit of a jam, it seems.
Oh, well, the food problem is something for later. I can't help you with jam at the moment. I'm good for water.
Oh, you don't know how to make jam? Oh, Walter needs some jam.
Oh, I do have experience as a chemist, so I could, in theory, make jam, but I'm working on the water purifier first. Because obviously, chemistry skills translate into making jam.
Synthetic jam.
Exactly. I mean, you should just fruit and sugar, melt it down. I mean, it's pretty simple.
That is cookbook chemistry at its best.
Proportions, which you need in chemistry also.
But I don't suppose you all have something in the way of a golf cart or a Segway to help us get to the danger zone a little faster so we can work on those water purifiers.
Oh no, you can't go to the danger zone. That's not safe. That's very dangerous. And they're starting to speak in kind of a staccato fashion where you hear it's like, that's not safe, that's dangerous, you can't go there. We need water here. Walter needs water here for the Central Avenue.
Oh.
You must be here to help Walter.
Yeah, okay, well. Can we roll some sort of, like, survey study? Before I roll, actually, Sterling can tell whether or not they're lying. Do they actually, like, speak for Walter?
Somewhere in Paradise, Sterling's ears perk up. Somebody's lying to me right now, and I'm not sure who. We shouldn't do that. That's not fair. That's not fair to
Tawny might know better.
They are not currently lying to Tawny. There is a need throughout the area. That's not where Wendy was sending you. But I don't think Wendy kind of assumed that there would be danger here.
Can I attempt to sway these people?
Of course you can.
In order to help you, we have to go and help Bill, and that's how water works. You gotta go upstream and solve the problem.
That's a very good point. Riparian rights. Water flows downhill.
I have a 2 in sway, I rolled a 6 and a 1. So dramatic.
From one extreme to the other.
Are they gonna let us do what we're supposed to do?
Oh, of course. You're right. Bill's a good man. Bill needs our help. That's right, Bill. We love Bill. Bill's great over here. You see 2 people pull up in a tiny golf cart and allow you to drive away over towards the danger zone.
Do we have a chauffeur in a golf cart, or do we have control of the golf cart?
You have control of the golf cart.
For now, we are going where we were told to go.
All right, so you head over to the front of the danger zone. And at the front of the danger zone, as you pull into the area, you see trees that are hundreds and hundreds of feet high, higher than you would possibly expect them to be, even if they had been left alone to go ahead and grow on their own. I mean, that's just not the kind of fauna that appears down here in Florida. But the main attraction is down at the bottom of a large lagoon. You see an absolute enormous pirate ship.
Ahoy there! We're looking for Bill! I think I screamed in the direction of the pirate ship, assuming that it's being used as a base of operation.
Sorry, you talking to me?
Depends. Are you Bill and/or someone who can get us to Bill?
Oh, you're looking for the captain. Of course I can find the captain for you. He comes downstairs, goes below deck, and pops up ahead with a rather young individual. Someone, again, who probably looks no older than 10 or 12 years old.
I'm Captain Bill. and I'm in charge of this here ship, and what is it that you want from me?
Why, hello there, Bill. My good friend Wendy, our mutual friend, told me to come here and help repair the water purifiers, and that you'd be able to get me in the right direction.
You came here to make it so that way we can have fresh drinking water?
Yes. And I hold up my wrench.
Okay, that's all we needed this whole time was a wrench and a plumber and a plunger?
Oh, no, I have many other tools. It's just easier to hold up the one rather than continually mime the entire bag. And I pull out, like, charcoal filters and shit.
I was gonna say, we have lots of those below, and we've been trying for months to fix this, and it hasn't gone the right way.
Well, here's the thing. The great thing about a good engineer is if you have the right tool and I have the right tool, I'm the one that knows how to use the tool.
I am gonna warn you, if you're here to fool me, I am gonna have you murdered.
Glades in Paradise is Paul Kinter as Fisher Price, Justin Langston as Bristol Myers, Queenie as Lane Bryant, M.L. Riley as Tawny Wildcard, and myself, Jim Remus, as Master of Ceremonies. Domi is our editor, and Allison is our producer. You can directly support this show at patreon.com/bardrockcafe, starting at just $3 a month. We've just updated our Patreon rewards, so now is a perfect time to subscribe. Subscribers can join us on Discord, can come play games with us, and receive access to ad-free episodes and an ever-growing library of bonus content. You can support the podcast for free by sharing us on social media, by word of mouth, or by rating and subscribing on your favorite podcatcher. Lastly, you support us just by listening. Thank you for listening, dear friend.